Alright, so today I'm going to review the book The Celestine Prophecy by James Redfield. Uh, this is a very good book. I definitely recommend that you read it. It was published in 1993 originally. James Redfield sold 100,000 copies at the trunk of his car before he got a publishing deal. And once he did get a publishing deal, he sold I think 200,000, no, 20 million copies worldwide by 2003. Um, yeah, this book is pretty much one of those idea books that the idea itself is supposed to be real, it's supposed to be nonfiction, but he puts it in a dramatized fashion where the dramatization is fiction, but the principles, the insights, and the ideas are supposed to be real stuff that you can implement into your own life. Celestine Prophecy is a book that has ideas and principles in it that the author feels all people, he says, all of humanity can implement into their lives in order to be more whole people and more effective people. This book has 9 key insights. What he calls key insights are the key principles that people should implement into his life. And I'm not going to get into all 9 of them, but to start off, I'd just like to do a very basic overview of the book itself, the format. Um, it's engaging. It's not phenomenal. I think Dan Brown does a way better job in this genre of book. Um, his characters and their history, their personality, and how easily the audience can get in touch with those characters on an emotional level, I think is very shallow, especially for the main character. I think he gives a lot more background on his supporting characters than he does for the main character. And oftentimes the main character in dialogue says things where my response was really just to question what prompted him to say that. What is he really thinking? What is he feeling? Like, you can't. I never got a sense of what he was feeling or what type of expressions he was wearing on his face or what was going through his head that he wasn't saying. And the dialogue was very simple, which is good in a sense because these key insights that he uses are sometimes very complex. So to have simple dialogue, I think, complements the complexity of what the subject matter that the author is talking about here. Uh, on the reverse side, it made the dialogue in the book and the action of the book seem very flat and shallow. Um, Also, the writing style I think is simple enough for pretty much anyone to grasp the insights. Some of the insights that Redfield talks about are very scientific in nature, and some of them are very spiritual in nature. So if you don't have a background in either of those two fields, uh, understanding the insights may be a little bit more difficult. But I think that this is a great book to introduce some new thoughts and ideas into anyone's life. Let's talk about one of the key insights that he mentions. He talks about energy. He talks about people becoming aware of an energy field that has been in existence for a long time, but we're going to call this a new type of energy because humans have never been able to perceive it in the past. Uh, so think of energy as in relation to electromagnetic fields, things of that sort. Of course, the magnetic field was introduced in the early 1900s, and I know Einstein did a lot of work with this. Um, what Redfield is discussing about these energy fields, he discusses them specifically in relation to humans and how we perceive our world. He says that there will come a time when people will begin to actually see these energy fields. They'll begin to see areas in the world. For example, if you're walking around, you'll begin to see that one location has a higher energy field, a higher vibrational field than another area, and those areas with higher vibrational fields will seem more beautiful. Likewise, he says that people who have higher energy fields will seem more attractive. They will appear more attractive to us. And people who have low net energy fields, conversely, will seem less attractive to us. However, another insight that Redfield talks about are these control dramas. I think this is very interesting. It's a very psychological type of principle that he discusses here in his book, but he talks about it from a spiritual standpoint and from an energy standpoint. Basically, what he says control dramas are, it's process is a cycle that most of us engage in on an unconscious level, where we try to control situations in order to manipulate the type of energy that we're being fed. He says that people typically are dominated by one of four control dramas, and the names of these control dramas begin with the intimidator, the interrogator, poor me, and the aloof. Now, I'm not going to get too in depth with these control dramas, but he basically says that we use control dramas to draw energy from other people because we're unaware of this universal energy field that he discusses, because we're unaware of how to access and utilize that universal energy field. We manipulate people and we manipulate situations in order to steal energy from them. Um, that's about as far as I'm going to get into the control dramas, but those are only two of the 9 insights that he talks about. Um, the 9 insights together make a very comprehensive picture of our state in the world right now and where we need to be in order to move forward as a people, in order to evolve as a species. So in that regard, I think that Redfield was very successful in his pursuit to communicate that idea. Um, Again, this was a New York Times bestseller. He sold over 20 million copies. So obviously he spoke some truth that resonated with a lot of people. If you have the chance, pick up the Celestine Prophecy. If you have not read it, it was initially published in 1993, so of course this is a really old book for me to do a review on, but I think that it's a very good introduction into some of the other more hard-hitting and complex material that I'm going to do reviews on later. So I appreciate you watching. My name is Quentin Williams. Please come back again.